key in on habits from the very beginning, so that from day one, with each new thing we introduce to you, these are the same skills or approaches to the sport that you'll have 5 years from now. Atmospheric information. I want you to show up and give us, each of you present to the group, your assumptions about what's going to happen to the air throughout the day. Now, that means that you're going to have to do some research. I want you to watch the Weather Channel or the local broadcast of the news this evening and see where the lows are, the highs, how tight the isobars may be, whether they're calling for thunderstorms, windy or breezy conditions throughout the day. You can also call 1-800-WX-BRIEF. When we stand on top of the hill and you're getting ready to take a flight or do something as simple as do some ground handling with a glider, if you don't feel comfortable that you know what it is you're supposed to do, we need to stop right there. Every bit of the way, we want you to feel very comfortable that you know what it is you're doing with that equipment. So you look at us as an advisor. If your attitude towards the sport is that you're the pilot in command of the craft from the very beginning, and that you're the one who makes the decisions that affect your success, I think that's the right attitude to have. Any questions? And this little corridor called Whisper here is ideal. The nice grass, the shape of the slope, the angle of it facing south, southeast like this is just ideal. You're going to hook back up your brakes, gather up the glider, wait. We're going to bring the truck down, and we can actually start turning flights really quickly on a nice morning like this.
I should just go as far as I...
You bet. You glide as far as you want to. Just enjoy yourself. I want you to be very thoughtful about maintaining fluid arms, that your hands aren't locked up in any way, so you're nice and smooth. Now, Lisa's been through this a few days. This is her 4th day, and Sasha's had a number of days. So we're going to let them go first, and they'll serve as an example for you, Will, since you haven't seen paragliding before. Go ahead, let go, turn, and add brake. Run. Very nice, Sasha. That looks just great. Let your arms hang a little bit so you have about 3 pounds of pressure, 1 kilo of pressure on the brakes. Looking good. Keeping your feet right tight together. Feet together. Good. Okay, good with your hands. Now a little bit of brake right there. Add brake. Very nice. Surge control. Okay, I don't want you to look at Lisa. Look right down the road. That way you don't land on top of Lisa, but you land on the road itself. Hold your flare, hold it, hold it, hold it, and walk forward. Nice job. Good job turning around. Excellent. So you can hook your brakes up, go ahead and gather the glider, and we'll meet you down on the road with the truck in just a few minutes.
How'd you like your flight, Sasha?
It was totally awesome. I don't know.
Good.
Turn, run fast. Add brake. Feel the pressure. Now keep running, feeling pressure while you're running. Okay, I know you're in the air. Now add some brake when you touch down, and hands up a little. Now add brake. Good, very nice. Keep running for me. Feel that pressure, steering to the right a bit. A little bit of, good job. Keep running harder, add airspeed, steering to the right a little more. Steer right, make it go where you want it to. Add brake as you touch down. Beautiful. Steer to the right. Feel where the glider is. Don't let it go ahead of you. So we get in the simulator and we have them do a lot of ground handling until we can see that they intuitively manage the glider correctly. The thing we want to do is keep your feet tight. Now if you're close to the ground, I want them side by side. So let's try that for a moment. Okay. And then you would bring your hips forward in preparation for a landing, and be vertical, correct? And we did that on the hill earlier today. So as you move around within the air, you want your arms to be seeking about 3 or 4 pounds of pressure. Take a wrap. Terrific. And we want to take a wrap so you have sensitivity through the control lines, giving you more feedback of what's happening up in the glider. Also, in the event that you need to do some pretty serious management of the glider, then you have a bit more authority by having that wrap in place. You make a right turn. You want to look first, pull the right toggle down, let's drop onto your right hip, and at the same time let's make sure you're keeping good flotation on your outside hand. That's exactly right. Good for you, Loretta. Okay, come back up level, and let's see you make a left turn. Now you need to be bringing this brake down a bit more. About like that's going to be right. Sound good?
Radical, let's go.
Okay.
This is fun. This is a kick in
All
the
right,
pants.
there we go.
I'm afraid I'm going to
Bring it up. Let go. Go ahead and turn around.
Oh, I didn't.
Go ahead and turn around. Duck underneath. There you go. Run down the hill a little bit. Look down the hill. Don't look down at the ground. Keep running. Okay, push your hands all the way down. Feet down, please. Not sticking out in front of you. Walk on your feet. Great. That's what they're for. Excellent. Okay, let's rotate. Beautiful. And walk towards it. Go into your rear risers. Beautiful. Hey, your first flight. How'd that feel?
That was cool.
Good job.
That was cool. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
So why is it helpful to lay out the canopy in a horseshoe shape or a nice curve?
Почему полезно подготовить свою куклу вот такой?
I'd still rather get picked up into the air facing my glider than get picked up into the air unexpectedly facing forward, because if you're facing your glider and you get picked up into the air, you know what it's doing, you can see it. If you're going forward frequently, you'll get picked up into the air and you won't quite have an idea. Did that side get me picked up? Did that side get me picked up? Is it picked up evenly? And it can still overfly you.
Now, there are times that you can get picked up off the ground while in a reverse position. I'm going to show you that here. If it happens, you don't want to get flipped around facing forward without the brakes in your hand. You want to keep flying reverse so that as you touch down, you can run at the glider. Otherwise, you might fall back and land on your back, land on your bum, hit your head. So we'll see if the wind increases a bit, do some backwards flying. The risers want to turn you, but you have to resist that. You resist it by pushing a little bit against the riser that's on top and pulling against the riser that's underneath. So for example, I push on this one and I pull this one so that I don't spin around underneath the glider. When I go to make a launch, put the brakes in my hands so when I turn around they're proper. And simply bring the glider up, comes up square, make the turn around and add a little brake. We really want to have horizon reference. Shouldn't be looking up at your glider too much. Doesn't mean you have to stare outward, but you can feel where the glider is. And developing that consciousness, that feel of where the glider is really important so that when you're in the air, you'll have more sensitivity to the glider. And that, in the end, gives you more sensitivity to the thermals that are out there, the thermals that are usable.
good comment that you made earlier on when we were on the ground and the gusts were coming through. Sit back in your harness, let your A's pick up the leading edge of that glider instead of it flopping around and holding so much pressure on the trailing edge.
So you're keeping a wall on the glider by leaning back and holding onto your rears, and it wasn't even that demanding physically, was it?
Absolutely not.
So you can prop that wall up and keep it. If you let the wall down in this wind, air will get underneath the trailing edge, you'll start to flop around.
And then you're in the bushes.
Yeah, and that can damage your equipment, so you don't want your equipment to get damaged either. That's a key component. The fact is, if you're getting lofted and you yank on the rear risers to put you down, you're going to get lofted further. Right. So you're going to have to ride it out. So that means got to lock risers. They've got to keep them locked so you don't get spun around. And fly the glider up the slope. It's going to set you down eventually. But you're going to have to give it time to settle you back down to the deck. Now, it's possible that you could get lofted and you're actually going to climb out. And if that's the case, then let go of your risers, flip around, take your brakes, and fly it. So here we go. Dynamic reverse launch. If the glider doesn't feel right, don't turn around. But if it feels good, you make the turn around and go. Brakes. See her run? Excellent. Lean, looking first before making the turn, so that other pilots can see you looking to make that turn. It helps you initiate your turn properly. Always look first before making a turn. Make sure you're out of the seat, feet all the way down as you plan on landing. Hold the flare. Stabilize the glider, quick turnaround, let go of the brakes, reach the rear. And now I can go back to the A's, keep the glider off the ground, charge back up the slope. I can get it perched in drag chute mode, where it's just right out in front of me. And it'll pull me up the hill. As the wind dies off, I can lay it back down, wait for the next breeze to come through, and use the next breeze to take me up the hill a little further. In the event you pitch around through turbulence, it's important that the glider has an active suspension system. The designers of the glider have engineered these things so that by keeping a reasonable amount of pressure on the back edge of the glider floating nice and easy like so, by having this pressure floating, the paraglider will recover to its normal stable state much easier. Gusts and pitching around within the air that you're going to wonder what you're supposed to do. The first thing is for you to maintain 3 or 4 pounds of pressure on both control toggles, and do that with your arms floating within that pressure range. So if you feel a drop in pressure, your hands naturally fall with that brake line to add some pressure. If you feel a little tension, you bring your hands up. If the horizon is getting lower, you're looking at more of the sky, you need to bring your hands up a bit and then anticipate adding brake as you see more of the horizon. Okay? We call that surge control. We want to try to locate the glider overhead. So when the glider goes behind us, we want to leave it alone and then add brake right here to dampen the surge of the glider. And you will look at the handle, pull the deployment bag out of this container, and actually throw it away from you, letting go of the handle. Okay? It's important that you do that in one motion. If you happen to be spinning, let's suppose you find yourself turning, then you would want to pull it out and throw it which way, Glenn?
The same direction as your spin so it doesn't wrap around the lens.
Very good. So if Sasha had some problem going on and she was doing this, she would pull it out and throw it to her left. And you can see why that might be an advantage to a front mount reserve, is that you can easily grab it with either hand to throw it either direction. Correct? After throwing the reserve, be careful your fingers don't hold on to the risers. Even here on the simulator, we want to be very careful to keep our habits in line with, not holding the risers, keeping your hands floating, keeping your ankles crossed. After throwing out the reserve, what's the next thing to do? Let's see, Glenn, I guess you would know because you've been through this.
Okay, as soon as you throw it out, you want to make sure it opens by yanking on the bridle.
Exactly. Do these lines. Why don't you go ahead and try that? Excellent. And generally, I like to do one side and then the other, because some of these more basic beginning gliders have so much pressurization in their tips that it's a little bit easier to do one tip and then the other. I recommend that if you're going to, go ahead and try that, Sasha, a couple times. I recommend that if you're going to try this maneuver, that we want to do it at least 500 feet off the ground to get comfortable with it. But throughout your flying career, it's probably a good idea for you to not reach up to install big ears when you're under a couple hundred feet to the ground. The reason for that is that if you get pitched around in turbulence as you're reaching up to pull on the big ears, if you think about it, that whole time she's reaching up here, she doesn't have much control over the back edge of the glider, does she? So there's an opportunity for some surging or rolling that's not maintained, not managed. Everybody with me? Great. Any questions?
Ready?
You have to really lean forward, okay?
Okay. Good now.
Hey, look at the camera. Look at that. Who is that?
Is that your hubby?
I'm stealing her away. Come on.
So there is a possibility that as I bring the glider up, I don't like it, and so I will stop the launch. Are you ready? Let's lean forward, go down the hill. Okay, go down. Looks good. Let's go. Okay, go ahead, bring your arms back. No, bring them back. No, 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 no. Bring your arms here. There you go. Got it? No, 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 no. Hey, go ahead. Well, maybe we'll get cold after all. You might take some pictures.